Good evening. Thank you. I'd like to thank everyone for being here tonight. Laguna Madre Water District Board of Directors. Laguna Madre Water District Board of Directors regular meeting. Notice is hereby given of a regular meeting of the Board of Directors of the district to be held at 105 Fort Road, Port Isabel, Texas, 28th day of June, 2018, at the hour of 5:30 p.m. for consideration of the business of the agenda below. This notice is posted at the office of the district on June 22nd at 3:40 p.m. in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code 551-041-551-050, not less than 72 hours prior to the time of the said meeting. We do have the presence of a quorum. All board members are present at this time. Item 2, invitation for the Pledge of Allegiance. Invocation and pledge, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Carlos?
Yes. You please bow your heads. Thank you. Yes, thank you. Invocation. Heavenly Father, we thank you again for another opportunity to come together as a community, Lord. I see that we're gathering here for reasons, Lord, and that reasons that we have to make choices here today or maybe tomorrow, Lord. But help us understand all these agenda items and make them simple to everybody, Lord, that we make the right choices and decisions tonight. And we thank you for this opportunity. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Item 3, invitation to the audience for public comments. That includes the board. Councilor Lucio, would you like to start?
Yes, so I was contacted this morning by Frank Wood, who I believe his law firm represents the homeowners association on this issue. I have a tremendous amount of respect for Mr. Wood. He said, Eddie, this is very new to me. I'm trying to get my arms around it. Is there any possible way that we can make sure that there's no action taken tonight? I said, Frank, I'll do you one better. We'll make sure that this action item ceases so that you can come and sit down, as you know, your law firm, sit down and have plenty of opportunity to represent your client, negotiate on behalf of your client, inform your client, whatever you need to do for your client with the staff. So I called the district. I didn't realize there was going to be anyone in attendance. I called the district and said, hey, they're represented by an attorney now, so let's not worry about this item. Let them get a full opportunity for counsel to come to the district, share his client's wishes, and we'll make a decision on this later on. So he said, great. So I called Mr. Gavan and said, Mr. Gavan, if you could please, let's not do anything with this item tonight. They now have an attorney. Let this process work out. So I think it's because of that reason that the workshop was canceled, because you are represented by attorney. I wanted to pay him that courtesy. It's the best courtesy I could possibly pay to another attorney. And I think in addition to that, one of the board members is going to share his desire to postpone this until after the rollout of water meters that will provide a very true picture of water usage. So I sincerely tell you that the reason there wasn't a workshop was because I was providing the ultimate discretion to your attorney to say, without you, we're not going to do anything. Come on in, let's talk about this. It wasn't for any other reason than that. So I appreciate your time letting me explain the circumstances of what led to today and the item going to be tabled. And that is the only reason for it to be tabled. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Board, anyone like to address anything or make any comments or statements?
I wish these people would show up at a regular meeting.
Staff, any comments or suggestions? The board takes everyone's comments seriously. We try to do the best we can. We make the best operations and decisions for the entire water district that includes the entire Laguna Madre area, not just the golf course, but includes all of the communities associated with the water district. We have hired a rate study to give us some guidance to adjust our rates accordingly. We have the options to make those decisions. There are several options associated with that, several things the board can consider and look at. Unfortunately, as everyone knows, prices do increase, operations increase, cost of goods increase. So those are things that the board proactively takes and looks at routinely and considers the best operations for the water district. There's no one or anything in particular to punish any one community or overcharge anyone. It is what the cost of water is to get from the source, which is the Rio Grande, to the faucet or the spigot. So we have to, rates will, are to be considered and adjusted accordingly. So there's just throwing that out there. And it's not one person that makes a decision, it's a board that makes a decision. And all of the input and factors are considered for making those decisions. The water district is not a business, is not a for-profit business, but it does have to sustain its costs and its expenses and operate to the best of its ability without being a burden to the taxpayers and the ratepayers of the community. So I wanted to stress that. If there are any public comments, if they have signed up at this time, we can address those in 1-minute fashion. Hopefully, we're bringing some new items to the agenda and to the issue, and not just kind of ranting and raving. If there's some things to discuss. Daisy, do you have a sign-up sheet if there's anything to be discussed? But at this time, I don't think the board is going to take.
Just have them come up.
Or if there's anyone who wants to discuss or add a comment for the record, you're welcome to. I don't want to make this into a long, lengthy deal. All of us have agendas, but this was a workshop that was at the request, asked to be postponed. And as a board, we consider all of that. There's nothing agenda hidden in any of this. That's kind of where we are at this moment. So,
But it's a good time to be heard right now.
if you have something you want to state, yes. I don't want to make it into a long, lengthy or yes. State your name for the record.
Great, my name is Adam Lalonde. I'm the vice president of a group of homeowners that purchased the golf course in December. I think I see some of my neighbors here showing up. Thanks for coming, you guys. And, we got involved with the golf course, a group of homeowners, there were 30 of us, because our ponds and our lakes were declining, our golf course was declining, and that's a major asset, not just of our small little community, but the whole South Texas community. And we really believe that if we didn't protect that, we were going to lose substantial value in our homes. We've calculated that not fixing those ponds and lakes and golf course could easily cost us $20 million in that community. There's a lot of industry coming down here, and we think Laguna Vista and our golf course and our ponds and lakes is a really good draw. And we want to be able to continue sustaining that. And we'd like to thank the board for the action you took in October of last year when you set the rate at 55 cents. And that allowed us to get out there and fill up those ponds, fill up those lakes, really be proactive as we try to hit the ground running. But we want to be able to continue doing that. And that's really hard to do if the rate is substantially higher. And so we would just ask that as you guys do your due diligence, and certainly it's a responsibility that you have to manage everything together, that you consider what we're trying to do out there, trying to grow the community, we're trying to grow the tax base, we're trying to make things more beautiful. And if we're looking at mud holes in our backyard, that's not beneficial to anybody. And it's a real diminution in the value of our homes. I guess one other thing I'd like you guys to know is the group of investors who are trying to improve the community haven't taken a dime or a dividend or a distribution. Everything we have done has been sort of at zero profit, and we're doing it because we want a beautiful community. We want a lovely place to live. I didn't invest in a golf course because I thought I was going to be a golf course baron someday. No reasonable human being would ever invest in a golf course. Only somebody that wants to see a nice lake in their backyard. So I would appreciate it, and I think I echo the comments of many people here and the concerns that as you guys think about the raw water rate, which I know is probably just a very small portion of the overall consideration, that we can sit down and come to a rate that is fair. We want to pay a fair rate, but we also want to pay a rate that allows us to continue growing the community. So I appreciate your guys' time and your consideration. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Anyone else to add? Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. My name is Ralston Cresswell, and I'm a resident, just moved here a year ago, and am very happy to be here. I'm not being represented by anyone. I'm just an individual citizen that's retired and on a limited income. And, you know, right now, our property rates are going up 30%. Our taxes, I'm not a multi-millionaire, so my taxes, I'm not getting any savings from there. But it seems like everywhere we turn, we're getting nickel and dimed with increases. And we would just like to ask you gentlemen and your staff to please keep those folks of us that are the little guys in mind, that are just trying to get by on a month-to-month basis in our retirement without having to have you know, an increase every year, especially a 100% increase. So we just respectfully request your support and consideration in that area.
Anything else to add, closing? Okay, the board will continue to move on to item 4, consider and discuss for possible approval the minutes of the workshop meeting and regular meeting on June 13, 2018.
So moved.
There's a motion made by Mr. R. Wells and a second by D. Wells. Are all those in favor?
Aye.
They are. Any opposed? None. Motion carries. Thank you. Item 5, general manager's report. Hurricane preparedness, electrical energy report, board of directors election candidate filing dates, and water master's report.
Yes, Chairman, members of board, I wanted to bring up the hurricane preparedness booklet for you all to have. And it's updated, and we've been hurricane compliance, preparedness compliance before June the 1st. We just wanted to make sure that we prepared the booklet back for the board and for us to keep in track and in check with all that goes on. But we've been checking our generators, our backup power, and everything else that comes in with hurricane winds and rain. So the booklet is there for y'all to look into. If y'all have any questions on it, let me know.
Carlos, were there any changes from last year or amendments or additions?
On this is just mostly the personnel changes, because there's always a personnel that comes in and goes out, and board members that tend to resign or leave.
Same action plan.
That's it.
Same action plan. Thank you.
Okay, and the next one, the electrical energy, I provided information on the electrical energy in there. You all can see the rates that are coming up. I know that rates are climbing like everything else. And what we're trying to do here is get, the last time we did an amendment to our existing contract, we extended it 16 months with a low rate, which was going to drop more than what it is now. I believe it starts in January 2019, the new 16-month agreement amendment, and it drops down a few pennies, but it's dropping than what the existing cost is right now, which is still climbing. If you see the charts in there, it'll show you the rates are tending to go up. I provided one of the pages, which is, it says May 2020 start, where it shows you the prices on the cost from when we end. We may have to look for RFPs on it, you know, to cut the cost, or to get a new company to give us a cost on it.
This is with the GLO, this is with the
Yes.
General Land Office.
Yeah, so this is
State.
directly from the
It's a
GLO.
state rate.
Right, so what we, they gave us an option to go ahead and for them to look at our rates, you know, if there's any drop in the rates that are below our existing cost right now, if they can write up something for us, which is an amendment to extend the existing contract after April 2020, and at a low rate, because right now they're above the 5 cents. So hopefully I'll bring more information up to the board later on the amendment, and I'll have the representatives, you know, if you have any questions on it, he'll be able to answer more than what I can.
So that did they suggest that it could be amended when it was looked at? My question is, who would originate that request? Would it be just
Well, if
periodically we
if
say,
have-
check it out?
Yes, he showed me a copy of the amendment, and it's the board of directors that make that choice. The reason being that when the cost drops and there's a week, you know, that they can work with, they'll call us up and, okay, the amendment's on, if we
How do we-
exercise and
How would we know that?
We come back to the board and.
How would we
have a-
know that there's, sorry to interrupt, how would we know if there's a rate drop? Would they notify us?
Yes.
Or do
They'll
we have to
notify us.
request that?
No, they'll notify us.
Okay, thank
So
you.
we have to make sure go ahead, Izzy.
We would set a target price, so we would tell him if the market, if the market dips and it hits our target price, we will already, if we give them this signed amendment, it would say this is the target price, and you have a period of 1 year. If within that year, it ever drops at that point, we would already have specified, if it hits this target price, we give you the authority to lock in that rate for 7 years, let's say, the maximum price, because most likely prices will continue to go up. So if you guys give us that authority, and tell us what the target price should be, we can sign that amendment, add it to our contract, and they'll be watching it every day. Once it hits that target price, they'll automatically lock it in for us.
That'll be at another board meeting.
Right, but that's a pretty sweet deal. They let you amend an agreement midstream.
It's the state of Texas, it's the general
Yeah,
office.
right. That's why we went with them.
Correct.
We'll be glad to be saving some money. Anyhow, that's the way that works. On the other hand, the board of directors election candidate filing dates. This is the updated, we have a polling there, and it's posted on the doors and on our website. So we have to advertise that and then post it, where we will be looking into candidate applications from July the 21st on to, I believe it's August 21st, the whole month, for applicants to come in and sign in and fill out the application. Anybody that
So-
wants to apply. for
So
the position.
starting July 21st, all these people can come make application to run a race. Come on, please, thank you.
Anybody's welcome to do that. The last report that I have here is a Water Masters report. I did get a call from them and advises that sooner or later we're gonna hit the 50% or below the 50%. Right now, if you see the page that I sent you guys, it has 50.77% in our storages in Falcon and Amistad combined. So,
This is dated the
it's just
16th,
gonna keep
right?
dropping if it doesn't rain on that part of the watershed. So right now, once we hit the 50%, it usually starts with a advertisement, like a voluntary conservation for the public. And we can help out, you know, advise the public on how to conserve, maybe water certain days of the week, or you know, wash the cars, or water the lawn after hours. We'll provide information, but it'll be a voluntary conservation until we hit the 25%, then it'll be a mandatory. So right now, we're at 50.77%. And also, just to remind the board that after each percent drop, the district has I believe it's 147 acre feet that they deduct out of that we get prorated. So you'll remember that one. And we actually have to really push conservation. You know, even though it's voluntary, we can still push for conservation. Give them a lot of tips on how to conserve water.
When do they deduct that after?
After below the 50%, every percent that drops down, it'll be prorated to. It's 147 acre feet that they deduct out of our existing water rights. And that's all I have. You have any questions, let me know.
Thank you.
Scott, you know,
Yes.
it was an interesting point made in the rate study that this is one of the few businesses that wants their customers to conserve. But in the act of conservation, that's less money to the district. So in effect, when the district is telling you to stop washing your cars, doing this, doing that, well, that means we're selling less water. But the district still has fixed costs, variable and fixed, that still have to be met. In 2011, our income generally was probably close to 30% more than it is now, simply because we were using a lot more water back then. But once the people of the district realized that conservation was important, the usage dropped. With the usage drop, the revenues dropped. Thank you.
That concludes District Manager Report 6, Director of Operations Report.
Mr. Chairman, gentlemen, you have before you the monthly report for May, which includes 269 service call-outs for the distribution, and the range anywhere from customer service, 229, and distribution was 13, water loss, 0, managers, 24, and follow-up, 3. Those 269 are further breakdown in different categories. I was wondering if any of you had any questions. And then on the next page, we have the collections. There were 69 call-outs, and collections were 64. Most of these are for maintenance that they do on the sewer, cleaning them out. And then we had call-outs of 5. So total calls for the month of May were 338. And that pretty much concludes my report.
Quick question.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Gomez, going back to your first page,
Yes, sir.
and I read on there that there was 12 change meters down at the bottom.
Yes, sir.
My question is, are we changing to the new Ferguson meters that we're going to be changing over into the new automatic metering system?
That is right.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Any other questions?
But we already got some of the Ferguson meters in
Yeah,
the,
yeah, we bought.
Yes, sir, we purchased 75.58. We were behind on some of them that we needed to change out, and we purchased some for inventory.
When do they officially start contracting to install them?
When we
We've
pay
already
them.
sent the contract to them. They're supposed to get back to us so that we can have a deadline as to, for a set date as to when we start. They're gonna order the meters first, find out how long it takes them to get here. Because they have to manufacture. And so that will probably happen sometime next week. And then we can let you know in the following meeting as far as what the schedule will be like.
I would caution that part of their sales pitch to us was that they had a ready inventory, and we wouldn't be running into any backlog. So remind them of that, please.
Yes, sir. I'll do that.
And then if you can, when they start to install those, if you'll just include us on the updates of what the installs are and problems they encounter and such.
We will do that.
Thank you, Robert. Moving to item 7, District Engineers Report. Charles?
Alright, so the first item we got is the population and wastewater flow projections through the year 2040. I went ahead and just recently worked on this in the past 2 weeks, so I just wanted to give an update to the board just to, bring my analysis of what our population projections are. And, back in 2014, we had 6,242 connections. Our current number of connections is at 6,522. So we've been looking like about an average growth of 1.1%, per year, based on how our connections have increased. And then, we also took a look at our water rights diversions of how much we pull off the river. And, it just fluctuates up and down depending on rain events or, what we happen to be pulling off the river for the year. But in general, from 2012 through 2017, we can see a trend of about 0.91%, or more or less a 1% growth in our increase of diversions off the river.
Annually.
Yes.
Thank you.
And so again, just kind of, that was sort of two measures to see what an accurate growth rate would be for the area. Being that, we have a lot of visiting populations, so it's sort of hard, to tell, compare that to a permanent group. But, those two factors, you can kind of get a pretty fair estimate of, we pretty much are at a 1.1%, growth rate for our district.
But we're not adding that to our acre feet, though. I mean, note to the board that we're not adding that much acre feet to our capacity.
Right. I mean, there's an appendix where I can jump to on the water rights, especially since we just got a notice that we're at 50%. So basically, we are one of 4 districts in our river section here from Falcon Dam here. We do get prorated. And basically what happens is as that combined volume of Falcon and Amistad, it gets below 50%. For each percentage drop, we lose that 143, 147 acre foot. And so basically, when that reservoir goes down to 37% full, that's the stage where we're fully prorated. And at fully prorated conditions, our worst case authorization is 5,528 acre feet per year. And so basically, in the past years, in 2012 we used 5,560 acre feet. 2016 we used 5,774, and then on the other years we stayed below that fully prorated amount. But more or less, we're at 100% under drought conditions with our diversion.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
This flood that we had over here the other day was almost directly over the big lake. How much water do you think we gained?
Well, I mean, like basically our lake is at Falcon and upstream.
No, but I mean the big
West.
pond out here, the 100-acre deal.
Oh, well,
That's
I mean,
where they got like 10 inches of rain now.
I mean, the best thing, in terms of helping with our water supply, we got a notice of no charge water for 24 hours. So basically, we're allowed to pump off the river for a day and just fill our reservoirs as much as we can and without discounting against that allocation. So that's essentially, basically, this rain event gave us 1 day of free pumping.
But we're not adding capacity there, which is something to consider
Right.
in my
Well,
opinion.
we do have that sale that's in progress,
Correct.
and so that just, kind of inches us ahead of the curve.
But
And-
even 100 acre feet that you gain, if you under water restrictions, you can't pull the full 100 feet.
Well,
You're limited on the percentage you can pull.
Well, we convert it to municipal, because what
Right.
we're doing is we buy irrigation. There's 2 classes of water rights. There's a Class A irrigation right and a Class B irrigation right. So when you buy Class B, you cut it down to 40% of its value
Right.
to make it a senior right. And when you buy Class A, you cut it in half to make it a senior right, which is municipal. And that's basically the process we take. We buy agriculture rights and then convert them to municipal. And that's, our current strategy is, that we find water rights and increasing that diversion as needed to meet our demand. But that's getting off topic. Because the intent of this effort was really just to determine our wastewater flows and our capacity on the wastewater side. And so, we have 4 sewer plants. At Fort Isabel, our capacity is 1.1 million gallons per day. Laguna Vista, 650,000 million gallons per day. Isla Blanca is 2.6 million gallons per day, and Antigua is 1.5 million gallons per day. And, just looking at our flow records from 2011 to 2017, there's not a steady increase with rain. It just goes up and down and all over the place. But, just kind of with the rain events, that's what will really influence, how much flow we have at the plants. And then the other trigger from our sewer plants is when we have flows that exceed 75% of capacity for 3 consecutive months, we're required to start engineering phase. And when we have flows that are 90% capacity for 3 consecutive months, we're required to start construction phase. And so, that needs to be understood between now and 2040. Plan, more or less when those events are going to occur so we can be ready for it, for debt service or capital planning, that sort of thing. And the good news is that, taking this growth rate at 1.1% at 2040, we have, through year 2040, we have adequate capacity at Laguna Vista, Antigua, and Isla Blanca. And Fort Isabel will be the only site where we'll probably be at the point of having to do engineering phase. We're looking at being at 84% capacity in Fort Isabel in 2040. And the others are all below 75. Well, let's see. Yeah, that's kind of, looking at our sewer plants in terms of, so really our focus for now is just mainly rehab, not expansion at this time. But that concludes I guess I have some graphics here as well, because I know there were some questions as far as, our district boundaries. So there's just exhibits in here that shows, what the boundary is for our, the blue line represents the area that's taxed, through our flood district. And then, we have some green areas for projected growth like we're looking at seeing a 85-acre subdivision likely come in south of the Heights. And then we're also looking at for the town of Laguna Vista, for that part on the 23 acres, considering waiving annexation fees to help facilitate that part as well. So that's, that's pretty much, and then the service areas are included for the sewer plants. Laguna Heights can pump in either direction. Laguna Heights, just by open closing valves, we can either send it to Port Isabel or send it to Laguna Vista. And on the island at Gardenia, that's our break point where everything over Gardenia goes angry, things south of Gardenia goes to Louisville. Yeah, so basically that's wraps up that item on population projections. If there's any questions before we get to the next item.
Thank you, Charles.
Right. Well, then there's
Do you
another
have
one.
comments?
No, we have-
Let's do it real quick.
Yeah, we need.
Just Barbara's still working on the work orders that we present today. And then also just one clarification is that recycled water does have to go back to either the reservoir or the sewer plant. We can't send it to a drainage because we don't have a discharge.
Okay.
That's the only clarification I wanted to make.
Thank you, Charles. Item 8, consider and discuss for possible approval of water wastewater rate and long-term financial plan for Laguna Vista, Laguna Madre Water District, resolution number 161-06-18. No,
Mr. Chairman, if I
action.
could, I think most of this room tonight could sit down and look at the same facts. And even though we may disagree as to the conclusions, I think we could agree without being disagreeable. And I think it's very important that when decisions are made, the community needs to know all the facts and the true facts. What does a true disservice to this discussion, and as the gentleman alluded earlier, there were several postings and whatnot that we were going to raise the rates 100%. Now that could not be any further from the truth. And people that go around spreading those types of misinformation do nothing to forward a discussion that can be amiable to all. Saying that, recently the Water District has bought a new metering system for all homeowners, businesses, and whatnot. It's electronic, it transmits. It's the next era of transmitting water meters. The ones we have right now were supposed to last 20 years. They're going bad at 10, plus their accuracy is way off. So we have bought a new system that's going to be installed soon. That
Currently purchasing.
Huh?
Currently purchasing.
Yeah. That with your app, with an app on your phone, you're going to have a degree of managing your own water and keeping track of your own water that you've never, ever had before. You will no longer have to wait till the next 30-day billing to find out you have a leak. You're going to know it on your phone. One of the things that this system sold it to me is that it's supposed to have a positive impact on our bottom line. That bottom line, the positive impact, is for mainly two reasons. Number one, it provides a more accurate reading of water used. And number two, again, it pinpoints, and you appreciate this as a builder, it will pinpoint a leak within 10 feet of where that leak is occurring. So no longer will we have processed water being siphoned off into the sand and no one knows about it until it happens to bubble to the surface. Well, that water that's processed and ends up being leaked is still water that cost us, so we lose money.
It's non-billable.
Yeah, it's non-billable. So the bottom line is, we're going into a system that should help the water district's bottom line. I think we should wait and discuss any future rate hikes after we gather the new information from the new systems as they go in and how they impact the bottom line. So saying that, I'll make a motion. I don't know if we should table it or just set it aside, but let's give ourselves some time, get it in, analyze the data, and then we'll come back to the community. And I would hope that when we sit down and discuss it again, we discuss it based on the merits and the facts and not made-up hyperboles. That's my motion.
I'd rather take no action than table, because table will put it on the next
Okay,
agenda.
no.
so.
Motion,
I propose no action.
that's your motion.
That's my motion.
Motion made for no action by Mr. Houston,
Second.
second by D. Wells. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen. Moving to item number 9, we've already discussed 9. Item 10 and 11, I'd like to take no action on those. 9, excuse me, 9, consider
Nine
and
is
discuss. Yes, you're right. Consider and discuss for possible approval of annexation fees waived on 10 acres out of the 23.02 tract 5 for the town of Laguna Vista's South Texas Ecosystem Center.
Yes, sir. Again, Mr. Chairman and members of the board, we met with committee, annexation committee, and it was discussed at one of the prior meetings that, we're gonna go ahead and agree to annexation fees waived for 10 acres. And the reason that it's gonna be for Texas Ecosystem Center for the whole.
Hey, Carlos. Mike, would you come to the, tell us about it? You know more than he does,
Yes.
what's involved in the 10
Well,
acres.
It's 10 acres that they want to annex, and they're asking for.
Come on.
Joe knows more than anybody else about it, so we'll let Joe.
Well, it is a city and county, right?
It's a city-county combination,
Right.
so we
Yeah.
really appreciate you guys
All right.
putting this on your agenda.
The Honorable Joe Vega.
Mr. Scott Freeman, how you doing, my friend?
What a pleasure.
Doing great. Members of the board, chairman, good afternoon, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak today. As Mr. Carlos Galvan said, Cameron County and Laguna Vista have partnered, and we're in the process of constructing a South Texas Ecotourism Center on 10 acres of land. The area is located right off of Highway 100, just west of the stripes there. And we've been working closely with the city of Laguna Vista, Cameron County, with Mr. Carlos Galvan, our engineer, staff of the Laguna Madre Water District. This is a $6.6 million project. This project is going to bring tourists to the area.
We started with gifted land from Frankie Terry.
Well, actually, yes, I believe the land was gifted to the city of Laguna Vista. And just last week or 2 weeks ago, we signed an MOU. Cameron County and the Laguna Vista signed an MOU for the 10 acres of land, for us to use the land so we could develop the South Texas Ecotourism Center. The South Texas Ecotourism Center is going to promote the, all the basically ecotourism activities that we have here in the Laguna Madre, not only in the Laguna Madre, but other areas outside the Laguna Madre. We're hoping that we promote bird watching activities, let the public know where all the nature trails are. Also, fishing activities in the area. As you know, the Laguna Madre Bay is a hypersaline bay, and it's the best fishing spot, I'd say, in the whole coast, And also, with the new reef that is being built offshore, we're going to promote the reef as well. It's going to promote many ecotourism opportunities. As people driving as they come down to visit Laguna Madre, it's going to be a great place to visit. We're looking at having like nature trails and amphitheater. We're also looking at having bird watch overlooks, and xeriscaping and other types of nature activities in the area.
Joe, how does this tie into the Bahia Grande Reserve?
Yes, the property is adjacent to the Bahia Grande Reserve. As you know, Bahia Grande is one of the largest wetland restoration projects, not only in, I'd say in the nation, I think it's in the world. As you know, at one time it was a dust bowl. Now, we want to make this a productive tidal area. So it's adjacent to the Bahia Grande, and we're, right now we're talking with federal agents and other agencies to tie up other activities coming into this office.
Was there some talk about some bicycle trails from Brownsville through the Bahia Grande to this?
Yes, I believe there's been talks
Parks and
about
Wildlife.
just having connectivity.
Yeah, the city of Laguna Vista has actually signed an agreement with some other cities and counties to bring a biking trail from way up north all the way down to the Bahia Grande, which will tie from 48 to 510, and should go all the way around Bahia Grande at the end of the day and tie into the Echo Center.
Whereabouts is it at this stage,
The Echo Center,
the whole project?
the whole project, we are in the very beginning stages of it.
We're still doing the study?
Are you talking about the Eco Center?
No, the
Yeah.
bike trail,
Oh, the bike trail,
with all the
Yeah,
communities?
studies on that, yeah.
They're still in the study phase? Okay. That-
We applied for, I believe the city of Laguna Vista is soliciting funding from the EDA. And one of the things is, we're requesting if y'all could, that is gonna, and that is for the infrastructure from that we're gonna tie in for the water and sewer. That it's gonna be tied in from, I guess, from the stripes down
Somewhere in there.
somewhere in there.
Close to-
Yeah.
But this is just a start, and thank you.
This is a big
This is a start, and
project.
they're looking to get the 10 acres going with the annexation procedures being waived, the fees being waived by the district. And I believe it'll be a good opportunity for
And waiving these fees are for non-public, for public, non-private entities, so this is yeah, but go ahead, I'm sorry. I just wanted to stress that.
that's all it is. So,
Mr. Galvan, you're talking about just the annexation fees, and that would be the normal charge that somebody would pay to annex into the district. That's all we're talking about. We're not discussing tap fees
no.
or any of the
Just
infrastructure
the-
fees.
Right, correct.
Just the amount that normal, somebody else would have to pay in water rights and based on the use, et cetera. Correct?
Yes.
Thank you.
That's all it is.
I'll move to approve.
Motion for approval by Arwell, seconded by Mr. Avalos. Are all those in favor?
Aye.
We are. Any opposed? None, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Obviously, I know about the project, and I compliment Joe and Mike. I think this is really a big deal for our entire area. This ecotourism is a big deal. And this Bahia Grande is a big project. It all is interrelated, and it's a lot of players making a lot of things happen.
And I know Joe had a whole lot to getting rid of that dust bowl, so we didn't have to face it on Friday night football, so.
I just want to extend that. Item 10 and item 11, our engineer has asked that we could take no action on this. We're not prepared for these. Did you want to add any comment or anyone have any specific questions?
Do you need a motion to that effect or just pull them?
Yes, just pull them. Take a no action item.
Can we, council, can we do both at one time? Do we have to read each item individually and take action on it?
I would prefer that.
Okay. Item 10, consider and discuss for possible approval by board proposal from Southern Trenchless Solutions for restoration of clear well at wastewater, at water plant number 1. Need a motion for no action.
Motion for no action.
Motion made by
Second.
R. Wells, seconded by D. Wells. Are all those in favor?
Aye.
They are. Any opposed? None. Motion carries. Item 11, consider and discuss for possible approval budget increase for restoration of clear well at water plant 1. Need a motion for no action.
Motion for no action.
Motion made by R.
Second.
Wells, seconded by D. Wells. Are all those in favor?
Aye.
They are. Any opposed? None. Motion carries. Thank you. Item 12, consider and review the expenditures for June 1 through June 15, 2018. Motion to approve all of them unless there's one in particular we want to pull and discuss.
We don't approve them, we just acknowledge and accept.
Anyone have any?
I have no questions.
In particular? Board?
No.
Motion to accept.
Second.
Motion by R. Wells, seconded by Mr. Houston. All those in favor?
Aye.
They are. None opposed? Thank you. Item 13 is adjournment. Meeting is adjourned at 6:15 PM. Thank you to all for being in attendance. Thank you.
Executive.